Venom cheated on Spider-Man's mom. This is spoilers.
This is spoiler.
Fuck Chicago.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Spoilers episodes. And tonight we are reviewing the 2014 or 13, whatever, classic. Locke. An A24 joint. This is your host tonight, Brett. I won the trivia for, what was that, Forrest Gump?
Fast and Furious.
Oh, Fast and Furious. And they said to pick a car movie where someone's going 90 kilometers, and I picked Locke. So
you'll pay for this.
The traffic's fine. I am from Fort Wayne. I live in Fort Wayne.
But you have a great Welsh accent. Impressive.
No, I don't. No, I can do a few sentences in Cockney, and that's about it.
All right,
So
give us one.
No, I ain't gonna talk about it. So we're gonna go around the proverbial metaphorical table, and let's start. Welcome back. Let's go east to west, and welcome back a Spoilers favorite original host, Jordan.
How's it going, Brett?
Pretty good. Introduce yourself and tell me a movie with Tom Hardy that may be a little under the radar that's really good that you like, maybe.
That is very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Jordan, recording from Durham, North Carolina tonight. I think a pretty good under the radar Tom Hardy movie is a little known flick called Inception.
Oof.
Pretty solid flick. Don't know if you've heard of it.
Academy Award nominated.
No, honestly, I've tried to watch several of like his lesser known ones, like Bronson, or I don't know if they're lesser known, but not as heralded, I guess. Bronson, and there's the one where he plays like two twins.
Legend
is
That
terrible.
one. Dude, it's really hard to get through some of these with his weird voices. I'm sure we'll talk about that later, but let the games begin.
So basically, you don't have one. That's
terrible.
That's fine.
No, I don't. This one, Locke.
Well, then what's your favorite Tom Hardy movie?
Shit, man.
It's okay. We'll move on.
Come back to me.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
so
rusty,
next,
man. I'm rusty.
So who's in Goshen? Josh?
Hello, this is Josh, and I'm in the middle of a bloody Indian restaurant in Goshen, Indiana. I'll throw it back to Band of Brothers because that came up in a trivia recently. But I was looking at his IMDb, and he was in that old classic. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was the highest rated show on IMDb until Chernobyl.
Highest rated overall, really?
I believe so. Yeah, it was really, really high.
Even better than Game of Thrones?
I think so. Yes.
Wow.
All right, cool. Let's see. I don't know, Stevie, Mikey, one of you guys go.
I'll go. This is Stevie from Elkhart. I'm not going to dox myself again and say where I live. But, I mean, it's a pretty well-known movie, but the movie Lawless with Tom Hardy and Shia LaBeouf.
What? I haven't seen it, but I want to.
Totally unintelligible in that movie. You can't tell.
That's why I love it, though. I mean, West Virginian like gunslingers and bootleggers is so much fun to watch. So I'd say Lawless. And plus, I
can't believe you're not standing up for Mad Max right now.
Well, he said under the radar.
Well, everyone knows that. Yeah, and
that's my favorite movie of all time.
The main reason I didn't want to do favorite Tom Hardy is because I figured 3 people would say Mad Max.
Fair.
So,
and plus, Tom Hardy has like his Bane muscle still for Lawless, and he is just massive. So that movie.
All right, cool. So I guess that brings us to Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey recording from Goshen. He did this movie called Warrior that's pretty good.
Yeah,
where
I
he's
like
like
that.
a UFC fighter.
That is a good one.
Yeah, it is.
I like that movie a lot.
Joel Edgerton, Nick Nolte, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say you were recording out of Elkhart? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Everyone knows. So I guess that gets us to Pappy.
Yep, west of the Mississippi now. This is Pappy. I won't go with the underrated one since we've kind of picked over him a little bit, but I did do my best of the decade list, and I had Mad Max 1, Arrival 2, Dunkirk 3. So he's in 2 of my 3 favorite movies of the whole decade, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, he's awesome. You didn't have Inception in there?
No, but I like Inception quite a bit.
All right, cool. So that takes us to our last person. Again, I think we got full house tonight, 7 people. So our last person, go ahead.
All right. My name's Korey, recording out of Simi Valley, California, also known as Kylo Ren Memes. There's a Tom Hardy movie, probably the first one I ever saw him in, is Star Trek Nemesis. Now, I think I'm the only member of Spoilers here that's a Trekkie. That movie's not good, but it has Tom Hardy, and he plays a clone of Picard, Patrick Stewart, so that's pretty interesting.
Oh, whoa.
Is that the one with Benedict Cumberbatch, or is that a different one?
That's a different one.
Okay.
I saw that in theaters, unfortunately.
Is Nemesis 3?
Nemesis is the last of the Next Generation movies.
Okay.
So those ones aren't numbered.
I've always wanted to see those, so...
Good.
All right, cool. Just to add mine, my underrated... It's actually an absolutely fantastic movie, but it's so confusing, is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I would love to do that pod on that, but I don't think we'd have the time to break that movie down.
We did Predestination.
That's true, but this is more like a whodunit with 47 different layers of spy, and it's has anybody else heard of it? It's got Gary Oldman, Benedict Cumberbatch.
I saw it in theaters and I fell
Tom Hardy.
asleep.
I started watching it once when I was drunk and got very confused and frustrated.
It's very confusing. All right, cool. So I'm going to do this. I was talking to Pappy a little bit earlier, and I'm going to do a little bit like I did with American Movie and not go throughout the movie. I think that would be a nightmare if we kind of tried to go chronological with it. I'm going to break it down by storylines with different people. I think that'd be the easiest thing to do personally. So you start out, we'll do set the scene for it though. The only time you see anybody who's not just Tom Hardy is at the very beginning. He's getting into his truck, his SUV, BMW, and he pulls up to a stop sign. He's sitting there. He's got someone honking at him. His turn signal's going left, 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 and then all of a sudden he flips it right and goes. So that kind of sets the scene for what's going to happen. It's pretty much, you find out later, it was pretty much him making his choice. Whether it was the right one or not, I guess we'll discuss it. But let's go with, he heads off and goes to London. We don't really know why. That's our first phone conversation. Let's talk about Bethan. Who wants to kind of get us started with Bethan and the story of Bethan? Again, I'm a little under the weather, so I'd rather you guys do a lot of the talking.
Well, I thought that these people's names were just cut off because of the amount of letters you could input in the dashboard. But no, one guy's name is...
You thought it was like Bethany and Donald.
Donald.
Bethan. Where do I begin?
Yeah.
She's very sensitive, much older woman.
Yeah, she's like 43
She's
or something.
fragile.
She's not an oil painting.
Like Brett said, you never see her, but you hear her. She calls in. People call in on her behest often throughout the movie, and Tom Hardy had an affair with her, and she's pregnant because of it, and she's on the precipice of having this kid.
One night stand, yeah, it's affair, but for a little context. It's played by Olivia Colman, who, I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She's a pretty good actress.
I think I'm going to come back to this point a lot, that if the cast is 1 point less good, just 1% less good, not Tom Hardy, not Academy Award winning Olivia Colman, not Spider-Man, this movie is unwatchable. It's carried by how lucky they got with all the performances.
You could say that about a lot of good movies, though, so that doesn't really... But anyway, I understand. But let's talk about the movie that was made.
Good point, Brett.
This pod's over. We're done.
Getting dark.
How do you do a podcast on this movie?
It's very
understand.
strange.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, bold
Brett,
choice, Brett.
Why did you pick this, Brett?
I thought it'd be a challenge, and I thought it'd be something different than what we'd been doing or had done. I don't
And now
think
you
it's
want us to talk for you.
Why did Tom Hardy pick this movie?
because he liked the director and the writer.
Because he doesn't have to share any screen time. Let's dig into this beginning a little bit and set the scene. At what point in the movie did you guys realize you're never leaving this car? Because I remembered vaguely the marketing for this movie, so I thought that's what was going to happen, but did you guys all know that going in?
I did the first time I saw it, but I saw this movie a couple years ago after watching a review where that was very explicitly stated. And I thought that was an interesting take on a movie, like an experimental kind of student film-ish. And so I did know, but what about you guys?
Bottle episode.
I saw this with what would become my future in-laws. And about 45 minutes in, I remember my father-in-law looking at me with such disgust that we were watching this movie. The fact that he never left the car drove them insane. I vividly remember them looking at me asking, is he ever getting out of the car?
Well, if he had to ask that after 45 minutes, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious after that point.
There's one point where there's a montage of him just kind of driving, and it's not very long, and maybe 8-12 seconds or something.
It's the whole movie.
And after no, there's no talking. It kind of zooms out, and there's a montage with a lot of lights, and he's crossing a bridge or something. And after that, I was like, yeah, he's not getting out of this car. It actually took me till that point. Fuck. I thought if he arrives at the hospital right now, he'll get out. But otherwise, we're stuck in this car.
That was minute 88 for Jordan.
It's close.
Credits rolling.
Brett, I didn't want to get off on the wrong foot there. I like this movie, but do you think it's more of a gimmick? Because when you compare this to something like Castaway or something else that has a
Phone booth.
Yeah.
phone booth, there's usually a little intro where you see him, then the isolation, then the aftermath. But this is just pure car.
Yeah, it's minimalist. I like the concept of it. That's one of the reasons I picked it.
Isn't there a reason
different.
that movies show different things? What is the choice to go back to this archaic point? Brett, I'm not trying to be mean. I really like this movie, but something I've been trying to come to grips with is it almost limiting that they did this?
I don't know. It's got an 82 on Metacritic, so I'm guessing it's pretty well received. So I don't know. Yeah, it's different. It's not people revving it up and drinking NAS and pushing the NAS button.
Unfortunately.
It's real acting. It's real acting. All right, so let's do yes or no's.
You got to understand that they probably had zero budget, and this is a pretty compelling way to make a movie with absolutely no money.
This is so distinctly different from what we did recently with Predestination, right? Remember how we were talking about that one? Its strengths, a lot of it are in the premise. It has this really elaborate premise that takes you to a lot of different places to kind of unfold the story. This movie is quite good, and a lot of it is the performances, like you said, but the premise is pretty thin, right? How do you describe this to someone? It's like a guy having conversations in his car.
Mm-hmm. But I think it helps that it's also in quote real time. So his whole journey is the entire
I would
trip.
consider the premise, he's putting out fires in his life trying to make it not crumble. I wouldn't put the premise as there's one camera in the car and he's driving the whole time. That's, to me, this the setup of it. So, I wouldn't say the premise is thin. Everything is very minimal, but I think there's a lot going on. The tension is in the dialogue and him trying to save any last...
the premise is if you have an affair while you're married, you're going to lose your entire life.
That's the thesis.
But, he didn't really have to, but...
Which, doesn't England have some pretty good paternity laws? Especially if you have a premature child? I feel this was a choice of his to get fired. And I don't think, Brett, we've talked about what his job is at all.
No, because I was going to break it down by phone calls, but that didn't work out very, very early in this thing. So
Pick it back up.
just riff though. Just go ahead. Let's go.
So
let's talk.
Well, okay, what? He's a concrete layer? What is his specific job?
He's a
Because there's
supervisor.
concrete being
He's like a
pumped.
construction supervisor.
He's our foreman.
And he's a really good foreman.
He's
The
a
best.
site manager.
He's a lot like Charlie Sheen from Young Guns.
So yeah, go ahead, Pappy. Talk about his job and stuff. I mean, that's a big storyline as well. I mean, it's one of the big storylines with him and his underling, his protege, whatever, Donald.
Yeah, we'll talk about his proteges, but I mean, Tom Hardy seems to be a very workaholic type dude, and he's clearly compensated very well. Like you mentioned, he has a nice BMW that he drives. He has a nice watch. He seems to be dressed pretty well, and he is on the verge of overseeing the biggest concrete pour outside of nuclear or military ever in the EU. And that, I mean, we really don't learn much more about his job than that, right, Brett? It's just that he's apparently concrete's more finicky than blood or something. That
He's been doing it for 9 years.
10.
every increment of time that they lose costs millions and millions of dollars
For this big client that they're doing. Yeah, I don't know if every job he does is like that, but for this big client, it's really important. And as he mentions, which probably none of us knew, that even like a little weak spot, a little mess up in the concrete, if there's a little different type of concrete, it can slowly crack, and then which leads to more cracks, and the whole building could, the foundation could crumble or whatever. So
You got to have that C6, you know?
C6,
Yeah,
yeah.
don't fuck with C5.
What about a little C5? A little C5?
I was waiting for like a jet fuel melts steel beams sort of meme in here.
Oh,
I didn't get it though.
355 metric tons of concrete.
Donald?
Okay, Ivan, this isn't a question. Okay? But I just got off the phone with the plant in Stafford, and they said that they know that it's a C6 mix, but how far towards C5 can it go? In other words, if at one truck is some C5, how bad would that be taken? You still there?
Donald, what does it say on the whiteboard?
It says C6.
What does it say on every piece of paperwork and on every sign-off sheet?
It says C6.
It says C6. And you know why? Because eventually, when my building is complete, it will be 55 floors high. It will weigh 2,223,000 metric tons. Okay, my building will alter the water table and squeeze granite. It will be visible for 20 miles away. At sunset, it will cast a shadow probably a mile long. Now, if the concrete at the base of my building is not right, if it slips half an inch, cracks appear. Right, if cracks appear, then they will grow and grow, won't they? And the whole thing will collapse.
Ivan, look.
You make one mistake, Donald. One little fucking mistake. And the whole world comes crashing down around you. You understand? So you tell Stafford. C6.
C6 it is.
Thank you.
But Brett, do you think he had once he makes the decision to see his baby, that's one thing I struggled with. I feel like he still could have, I mean, he says that he could have like lied and said that he was sick, but he's not. But like, did he have to get fired? You know what I mean? That's a question that I wrestle with. It feels like a very self-inflicted
I guess
wound.
we're going to go into the part of the movie which I figured what people would have the most problem with. And I saw some reviews. Some people loved it. Some people didn't. And that's, I think, the catalyst of why he's doing what he's doing. And that's the conversations he's having with his father. I think it breaks down into three things. Two are filmmaking reasons, and one is like in the movie. One is he has to justify why he's doing it, and that's what you're kind of talking about. He wants to be the better man. His dad was a absentee father. He's hated his dad forever, and he wants to do what his dad didn't do. Two is, yes, there's not a lot going on. So when he's not on the phone, they don't want him just to be driving around in silence. So that's another thing I think added just for filmmaking purposes. And the third one, I feel like he is getting more and more exhausted. He's hopped up on cough medicine. He's sick. and it's like a cathartic activity he's doing, and I think that helps him. I think it's kind of just almost he's looking like a tired, sick trance.
So he is sick. He could have called out.
Yeah, apparently he was sick in real life, and they wrote it into the. He didn't want to delay, so they wrote it into the script.
I think this ghost of Hamlet's father thing. I think the movie kind of falls apart without it, in my opinion.
I do too, because you can't justify. Like Pappy, I was going to have I'll get back to you, Josh, too. I didn't want to cut you off. I'm just saying, I think this was going to be the big conversation we had, is kind of like we had with Jode's movie. What would we have done in the situation? What was it? Return to Paradise?
Right.
You kind of have to remedy. You have to decide if he made the right decision or not. And it's something that I feel like we'd all wrestle with.
I mean, if you're asking what I would do, I have love children scattered throughout the continental United States and abroad. So I don't know their names. So they're...
Do you love me? No, I don't.
You don't see Pap driving overnight to go see him.
This just seems really dumb on Tom Hardy's part.
He wants to... go ahead, sorry.
Locke's part. This just seems so nonsensical. Because he's trying to be this great dad, or he's trying to be the father that, better than his dad. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but you still have, 2 children at home and a wife that depend on you. That's all fine and dandy that you want to do, the right thing, but you can go see that child afterwards. You don't have to have your life fall apart. And he even knew he was going to get fired. So, if I'm that wife or, that child at home, and, knowing that, he would go and do this, it just makes no sense.
So it's like a symbolic gesture. He's not, actively saving the baby's life. He just wants to be able to say he was there for the birth. It's kind of striking me...
While also shitting on his own family.
But he was going to tell them anyway.
Go
ahead.
That's fine, but I imagine if he makes that much money, his wife doesn't work. There's a whole lot of things that go into this.
You don't know anything about Katrina,
selfish.
all right? You don't know Katrina.
Whoa!
Jeez, Brett.
But what I was going to say...
She's wearing the shirt.
I'm just trying to say,
shirt, guys.
For this character who's so smart, he's just being real dumb.
And it's the same thing with his job, too. He doesn't have to go above and beyond to make this happen. It's another symbolic gesture that he, throws everything away for. It's both of those things just to spite his ghost Hamlet father in the backseat.
I think it is crucial to mention that it seems like he may have had some sort of plan and the baby came 2 months early.
Yes, I was going to say, this kind of threw off how I was going to do it. Just for the audience who hasn't seen it, I know my brother doesn't watch these movies. He likes to find out what's going on while he's listening. So he was going to sit down and tell his family, his wife first. He had a plan. He kept putting it off. He said he had a bunch of opportunities to do it, and he didn't do it. And then all of a sudden, she went into labor 2 months premature, and he made a split decision to go. And it kind of threw everything he had, all of his plans away. He wanted to do everything at home. So, but that's back to, good point, Jordan. I wanted to bring that up as well. So,
he seems like a smart guy, and I think he probably had some kind of intentions for telling everybody and working it all out. But obviously, this is a wrench in all those plans. And so I think it does introduce some kind of chaos into all these intentions that he did have.
And also, they've said throughout the movie that she's fragile, she's lonely, she has nobody. She's already shown at the very beginning to be calling him. She was going to be calling him. Now, I just feel like she was the type of person that would bother him. So if he didn't tell his wife then, I feel like he would rather tell her than have, what's her name, Bethan tell his wife.
Call the house, yeah.
As Stevie would say, go home, deal with it in the morning. I mean, go tell your wife at home and then save your job and then go see the baby. But I don't think he was thinking that way. I think he was tired. Did it ever really say what time he left? 9 or 10?
Dude, that's why his wife leaves him too, because he doesn't set any sort of priority like that. Mm-hmm. He just tries to do all of them evenly, they're all of equal importance, and that's I don't know. I don't want to get too ahead of it, Brett, but
yeah, does anybody else have any push us in that direction? Pappy, are you
Katrina? I was watching one of those where they screen the movie and then they interview like the director. So they interviewed Tom Hardy but they also interviewed Stephen Knight, the director, and it came up that like the motivation that he barely like talked to the actors. Like he gave them like little breadcrumbs and then kind of let them run with it. But the motivation that he gave Katrina Ruth Wilson is that she was already ready to leave Tom Hardy and she was just waiting for the first excuse. And I think you kind of see that in her character. She equates like what did she say? Like the difference between 0 and 1 time is the difference between good and
evil, or is the difference? Yeah. I think Pappy. I thought he said that they did everything normal, but sometimes he would throw like a wrench in it and say, "Hey, this time do it in this way." So I wasn't sure he was saying that she did it that way the whole time, but it's kind of like those. Oh my gosh, what word am I looking for? Like the funny movies, like the Linapalooza. What word am I looking for?
Judd Apatow.
Yeah, but
like
what's
comedies?
Oh my gosh,
Linapalooza, improvisation.
No, yeah, improv. Thank God. Geez, sorry. Kind of like to see how he would react to that and to a little more venom in her voice. No pun intended. But you could be right. Maybe she was acting like that the whole time. Kind of like what they did with Blair Witch Project. He would get the people to work against each other. And if you want to hear about Blair Witch Project, you should listen to the pod. Spoilers pod. That was a good one. Really old.
We got a crazy guy on as a guest. Legitimate, insane person.
He's still chasing ghosts.
I couldn't make it through that pod.
Yeah.
But so go ahead, Pappy. Yeah.
No, I mean that's all, and it kind of speaks to like, Brett, did you do any research on the production of this? Because it sounds like it was shot in real time, right?
Yeah, I think it took. He was driving for 6 days, and he would drive around, and apparently every time you heard you have a call waiting, it was done over like the gas blinker light coming on, which was like really frustrating. So like every time you hear that, you could see his face getting like kind of mad. I don't know if that's cool or not.
One thing that frustrated me, and I'm sure Jordan can speak to this too, is that I feel like the movie wants to be a movie that's in real time, like something like High Noon or something, where there's a ticking clock, and the ticking clock in this is a soccer game, but yet the movie is less than 90 minutes. Like that seems like a pretty big whoopsie.
No, it's the baby.
I think it's set against his drive to London. I like the soccer stuff didn't set me off as much as that. Is that he starts off saying it's a certain amount of time and the traffic's fine, but it seems like it takes him longer. Maybe
the only time thing I think that I noticed, Pappy, is Spider-Man says it's halftime, and then like 10, 15 minutes later he calls and he's like, "We won." That's the only like real-time mistake that I found. So I feel bad. Like I want like Mikey and Jode and Korey to get involved. I'm with 7 people, and I'm kind of yappy. So
I don't think he says the game is over. I think he just says that we scored 2 in like 3 minutes.
Possibly.
Does the time thing really bother you guys? I mean, you wouldn't know unless you're able to stop and pause Netflix and look at the duration left. I mean, you wouldn't do that in a movie theater.
It's not a minus, but if he could pull off a film in real time, it would have been a huge
He just makes good time on his commute. That's why it's not a full 90 minutes. He said the traffic is not.
Fucking George Costanza over
why
here
do you think
making great time here.
Or like that they didn't pull it off. You think he said it was
because
like
a soccer game is 90 minutes and the movie is less than 80 or
That's
less
hilarious
than 90
plot
minutes.
hole, actually.
I mean, no matter what, it's not a fucking baseball game. Like a soccer game is at least 90 minutes,
I guess you're right.
and the film doesn't make it to 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's true. So I guess it's not technically in real time. It's mostly in real time. I mean, again, that's why I said I noticed that the timing was a little off. So
I would say to further that, I had wished in the movie, since they're only in the car, there's some sort of sense of going and arriving to someplace. And every time they're outside the car, it just looked like generic B-roll to me. Even like the beginning and end. I had no idea like space and time where he was. I even thought at the end there's a little bit of a question, like, is he at the hospital or is he just driving away into the sunset? Like I wasn't really sure.
Yeah.
Where's he going, man?
I agree. I don't know where he's at the end. He looks like he's off in a dirty alley. It
Well, he
doesn't
got
look
off
like
on
he's
an
anywhere near
exit.
a
He got off on
hospital.
an exit and pulled over on the shoulder, because literally everything had crumbled in his family life. So I think he's thinking about his life, and then he talks to her, or does he leave her a message? No, yeah, he hears the baby coo or whatever. So, and then he takes off to go to the hospital. I mean, he's in London. That's where he was going. So, but she's wearing the shirt. You got those German beers and sausages that you like.
That's like the most heartbreaking part of the whole movie.
The conversation with Eddie at the end is pretty brutal. I mean, obviously the Katrina conversations are brutal, but the Eddie, I mean, yeah. Well, go ahead, Stevie.
Because like this marriage has like been on the rocks from time to time. Like all marriages go through rough patches, and this one's no exception. For the fact that he obviously travels a lot for his job, and I think that put a strain like on the marriage as a whole. And you could kind of tell like by the way like the kids were acting and talking about the mom. Like the mom was like actively trying. And I think there's some credence to what Pappy was saying of like she wasn't. I wouldn't say necessarily looking for an excuse to leave him, but as well as like this is probably like this is probably the final straw for the fact that like she's wearing like the shirt because football is obviously important to Tom Hardy, Tom Hardy's character Locke, and it's an important part of their family. And like she went out and, like bought like I think she's probably gonna make bangers and mash. She got the beer that he liked, and it's just like he threw it all away. I think it's like a really heartbreaking part of this whole movie, or at least the most heartbreaking part.
I like that's kind of like a Stevie question type thing, but I also feel like we're reading way too into the thing that Pappy brought up about. I think that was just to get different reactions out of Tom Hardy. Again, I think we're reading too much into that. But
to me, it was like, okay, this lady's having a baby at the same time that he has to tell his wife about his adultery, at the same time that he has to take care of this business thing. Oh, and by the way, his favorite team is like playing the big match right now. You know what I mean? It's just like one more thing that is sucking for him.
Yeah, and like it's probably time that he really loves with his kids, and it seems like the wife Katrina does what some wives do, not mine, but they go somewhere else when you're watching sports. You know, they're not. I don't want that to sound sexist. I just meant and a lot of people, but so then this time she's going to be there. She's going to support the team. And I think just to add to what Josh was saying, that's just one more thing piled on to his very long night. So
I have a question go ahead, Korey.
I was just going to say, even though he does get fired for not like managing that concrete pour that's happening the next day, he still continues to work on it. And we haven't talked about one of the characters in the movie. This guy is a fucking fuck up. Donald, yeah.
Donald! It's done, but yeah, go ahead, Korey. Talk about Donald.
Donald sucks.
Whoa. 3 cans of cider, oi!
This dude just gets smashed. Like, he doesn't know what to do, so he just panics and gets drunk.
Donald's all right.
Joe,
first of all, what a lightweight. He has 3 and he's trashed. You can't even run.
He said he wasn't
strong cider.
He said he wasn't drunk. He just said he was. Hey, Joe,
Stevie's strong
hop in there and defend our boy Donald, please.
I mean, he's obviously just some guy, like the backup guy, basically, and this is the biggest pour in Europe outside of nuclear and military,
and
which they say a million times. Yeah, he's having to take control when he's out with his buddies after work.
Dude, it says C6 on the fucking board. He's asking about C5.
What's it say? What's it say on the whiteboard?
Of course, these companies are going to try to railroad him and like, oh yeah, we'll give you the shitty stuff for the price that you've already paid.
Okay, this is like Aaron Rodgers' backup. Just like the day before the Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers is like, dude, I can't come. What the fuck?
Yeah, and he's going to drink some Strongbow.
My brother's trashing me on Twitter. I can't come.
All right.
Olivia Munn on line 1.
She's a succubus. But I don't know. Korey, I mean, I get what you're saying. He's constantly screwed up, but at the same time, like, I know I saw in Pappy's review, and Brittany said as well, like, how did the pour go? I think of all the storylines, I think this is the least ambiguous. I feel like it was somewhat obvious, not obvious, but that the thing went well. They took care of everything. They covered all the angles. It was hard, but I think the poor is going to go well. I think that's the one thing you could rest easy about. Now, the family life thing, that's way more up in the air and whether his career will and life will ever. But I feel like the poor, after all that crap, is the one thing that went well.
Because he gave the most mental energy to it.
True, and that's what she said. She says at the very end. She says, you loved your concrete or your job more than me, or your concrete or whatever she said more than me. So,
well, it gets to a point where he needs a phone number from his wife, right? And he says,
well, no, he asks his kid, and then she catches the kid, and then she's like, are you kidding me? Go ahead, Korey.
Well, I think she, in a way, gives him an ultimatum.
Yeah.
He has to get this number to get the job done. And she says, look, do you still want this number? Basically saying, like, if you say yes, like, that's it for us. And he says yes. I mean, she was kind of framing it that way, wasn't she?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's definitely, what you're maybe supposed to read out of that.
I would really like it if you would say that you will wait and I can come back and we can talk. We can talk about it and that we can fix something up. But I really want to know that tomorrow I can drive home and talk to the boys and be at home as normal. And we can go out or something and have a drink and talk about it. I want to know that I am not driving in one direction. I want to know that I will be driving back when the sun comes up.
Ivan, let me ask you a question. Do you still want me to give you the phone number so you can close the road?
Yes.
Right, well, goodbye, Ivan.
He's so tone deaf in that moment. Like, he makes an active choice to choose the poor of his old job going well than trying to make amends with his family. And that kind of leads me to a Stevie question.
What's up?
Locke, good guy or bad guy?
Bad guy, riding under the facade of a good guy for a long time.
Disagree.
I agree.
I think he's a good guy who made one really bad mistake, and he's going to pay for it.
Then continued to make bad mistakes.
He was sitting on a pregnant mistress for 7 months, Brett. What about that is good? He was actively lying to his wife every day.
He said he made a mistake.
He was scraped out.
Hey, it's not like Stevie's not the be-all, end-all. It's an opinion.
That's my opinion.
You guys have an opinion. I have an opinion. Everyone seemed to think he's pretty awesome. I don't. Also, if they have porns going on at 5:30 in the morning, I think you have to think about this guy's probably been up since 3:30, 4 o'clock, getting ready to go to work, and it's 16, 17 hours later, and he's driving. He's sick. He's on cough meds. I don't think his faculties are all there. So the 90 minutes we get to see him, it might not be what everyone else gets to see all the time.
It's not peak Locke, yeah.
No, it's not peak Locke.
But
it's not peak Locke. It's not peak Modine.
That's a failure of the choices that they're making if I'm supposed to infer that. All you have to do over the opening title sequence is show Locke, like, working, being an awesome boss, like, high-fiving his people. Like, we talked about it on First Blood, like, when Rambo goes to visit that one... his like friend's mom, and how that like little 5-minute scene informs all of the rest of the fucked up choices he makes. Like, I just need to see him being tired for him to earn acting like a crazy fuck up.
You see him being tired though. That's like, I read a review where they're talking about you see him getting more and more exhausted as you go.
Isn't that what the parts where he's talking to his ghost dad or whatever? Like he's
Hamlet's
he's supposed to have he's supposed to have reasons. Like he realizes he fucked up and he's trying to make it right. Like he's trying to do right by everybody, and in doing that, he kind of fucks up all of it.
Yeah, I think that's
it's Tussin.
A good, at least a good theory. What do you think, Mikey?
I think Locke was probably a good person before they opened up the hatch, and after they opened up the hatch,
the smoke monster got him.
The whole smoke monster stuff. No, I think the dad stuff really kind of shines a light onto who Locke is as a person, I think. And he even says that, like, oh, everybody in our family is trash, or, like, has been
the Locke name.
Running away from their problems and all that stuff. And I'm going to be the one to turn it around and as far as we can tell, besides the baby thing, he really excelled in his life, and he really did turn it around, and he has a family and a great job, and he's highly respected.
His kids seem to worship him, yeah.
Yeah, he makes this mistake, and then it ends up costing him everything. So it's like it's a bottle episode of him losing everything in this car.
Well, the other thing is that he says that, and he's literally in the act of like running away from his wife that he should have told a long ass time ago. So it's an interesting.
But I think we're supposed to get like subtext of that this woman is very unstable, that he knocked up, and she could do anything if he doesn't get to the hospital.
I was talking about that earlier. I think that's something we need to take into consideration, is that she's crazy. She's the type of person to show up on their front porch with the baby. And I mean, again, it doesn't.
They should have flipped that then.
What do you mean?
I think Katrina should have gone crazy and driven to the hospital with the two boys to show them their father.
Katrina has a really good point when she goes on that spiel about how do you know you're the father? How many guys does she try to pull this with?
Yeah, if she had sex with you, she had sex with other people.
What a great line.
But I think she's trying. I think she's trying to hurt him, though.
She is, but his reasoning is so thin. Like, he's telling his wife and himself she was lonely, and like,
yeah,
dude, your wife doesn't want to hear about this other woman's needs. Like, who gives a crap?
We're happy. The pole was in. The foundation was down. Yeah,
I tried to pull out.
I think he is trying to like justify himself. You say I tried to pull out?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's funny.
He's so good at mixing liquids. I mean, come on, bro.
But has there ever been a more calm conversation with telling your wife that you cheated on her than he had?
I want to take next practical steps. Dude, shove it up your ear hole.
Yeah, he's trying to skip like 9 steps. I think he's maybe hoping to get lucky, but it doesn't work.
Take your shot, bro.
But I think that's like part of his persona, is that ever since all this shit with his dad, he's now like the guy who's always been in control. Like he's the
practical guy,
kind of like white knuckling it for his whole life, holding everything down, and now he has no control over anything.
I think I read someone said the director, the writer, described Locke as the most ordinary person in England. So while he is kind of like a superhero, like Pappy was talking about, he's like a superhero to everybody, and Pappy wanted to see that, but at the same time, the writer like envisioned him as just being just an ordinary person, not anything special, not anything bad, just kind of like milquetoast.
Well, what's his friend's name who Donald runs to drunk? He literally calls him the best man in England.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too, Pappy.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, I'm saying he is like a superhero to people because he's just really good. Kind of like what Mikey was talking about. He like made the best and, carved out a really nice life for himself, and he's very respected.
And he can pour some concrete.
Oh, he's the best. Go check the rebars. Check them yourself.
Keep going, man. I love it.
I'm working on my Welsh. It's not perfect, but
I can't believe Korey doesn't like Donald. Those are my favorite conversations, and they really brought some levity into a really heavy movie.
I like the conversations because I'm just like, get it together, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Guys, I'm Team Donald. He does pull it off. He runs down there.
He does pull it off. Team Donald for life.
Okay, Josh, listen to me. If you're informed of this situation and you're the second guy in charge and he's like putting all of this responsibility on you, are you going to start drinking?
Cider me up.
Well, he was already drinking. Oh yeah, no, you're right. He did. I think he just got nervous.
This guy has definitely drinking on the job before.
Yes.
Well, he said he already had a drunk driving charge because if he gets another, he gets tossed in jail.
That means he's had 2 then.
Yeah, I think he implied it was multiple because he said next time it happens.
Yeah.
What do you say? I go in.
Going in.
Well, Gareth.
Go inside.
Gareth, his boss, even says that Donald's a drunk, and I don't think we mentioned that Gareth's name in his caller ID is Bastard. Do you get it, Brett?
Bastard,
do you get it?
Yep.
Do you get it?
Get it? 10 years, 9 years. But yeah, let's talk about Gareth real quick. I don't think that much needs to be said, but Gareth is the boss of like the local thing. He's not like
why is it
Chicago
Bastard?
Big, but I think he's just a dick.
I think he's a bastard.
He's in charge of overseeing the entire project.
Yeah. The local thing. He gets his orders from Chicago and screw Chicago.
That's not what Pappy meant when he said "get it." There's something else.
No, I meant like the bastard connection. Like Tom Hardy's going to see his bastard son. He's all messed up because he's a bastard. Yeah, he clearly has bastard issues.
Katrina calls him a bastard.
Meaning born out of wedlock.
Is it born out of wedlock or conceived out of wedlock? Either way, it doesn't matter. But
let's break this down.
No, let's don't. So
his last name will be Snow.
Informer, I like you bomb there. Oh, Snow, yeah. Or Rivers, or Rock, or whatever they are. Sands, there we go. Mm. So, Gareth and him have, I don't know, a few conversations. He's kind of seemed like he tried to fight for his job. I don't know if he did or he even could, but he basically is like, you're fired. Chicago said you're fired, but Locke's like, I'm going to get the job done anyway, and Gareth's like, no, you're not. And he's like, yeah, I am. So he tells Donald to ignore Gareth's calls, which he does. And Gareth's not super important other than he tells him that he got fired, and he kind of disses him pretty bad at the end when Locke's like, before I left an hour ago, I had a wife, I had a job, I had a family, now I have none of those things. And Gareth says something like, you're screwing up your job is not my fault or not my problem or whatever. So other than that, he doesn't have that much. He's not as important as Donald or Katrina or Bethan.
He's the person that Tom Hardy says, fuck Chicago to, or learns it from. And Pap, you brought that up at the beginning of the pod. Why are those the two words he learned? Is that a Stevie question?
It's just funny.
What's up with that?
Probably because they don't know anything. They don't have any idea what's going on. I don't know.
Typically, when the orders come down from on high and they're not on the site themselves, things can get really messed up, and there's a lot of tension between the two. Because it's like, I'm the one that's doing the work. I'm the one like hands-on every day, and I see what's going on. And they're also with these big companies, you have to hit like a certain budget, and you have to hit in a certain time frame. And if you can't do that, you're useless to them. So there's a whole lot of tension between like two companies that are working together, and especially like the one that's in charge of the entire thing, which is Chicago, because they're the one at the end of the day that's writing the checks.
2 words I learned tonight. Fuck Chicago.
We're about wrapped up. I don't know. I actually love the parts where she's like, do you love me? And he's like, no, I don't. You're distressed, or else you wouldn't say that. And then at the end, she's like, can't you just say you love me? He goes, no, I can't. And he's very blunt with her. He's like, he says it multiple times. I barely know you. I barely know her. He makes it known that he's not going to be with her. He doesn't like her like that. So he was a little drunk, I think, when he knocked her up.
2 bottles of wine.
I just like you like a friend.
I don't think he likes her as a friend. So that story's wrapped up. Does somebody want to like kind of take us home with the family, the Katrina and the kids?
Ugh. So depressing.
Yeah.
Is it Eddie or the older son that he's talking to that's like, oh yeah, like tomorrow you're just gonna come home and everything's gonna
be okay. Eddie's the older one.
Okay. And so yeah, he's talking to his one son and he's like, oh yeah, you'll just come home tomorrow and like everything will be back to normal. And then it's very obvious that's not true. Katrina's banned him from the house and everything, and
yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
His clothes are gonna be by the curb.
Or on fire.
It's a tough look for my boy Tom, picking up his clothes at the curbside.
I feel like, though, everyone's different. Like, part of me thinks that maybe she'll feel different the next day, or I put it in my review, next week, next month, next year. We don't really know.
She's already talked really to her sister and her half-sister, Brett.
Yeah, that's bad. That's a really big step.
Once you talk to the sister, it's over.
Yeah, because they're never gonna look at you the same again, and they probably were like, "Yeah, you go, girl."
She's already changed the locks.
Oh, the lock. Think about it. They changed the locks.
Oh.
In the hatch.
Okay. So I saw someone mention it. The guy who scores the goals, the donkey, his name's Caldwell. called well. He called well the whole movie.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. But I thought it was funny to mention.
Edit point.
No, we're not editing out that gem, that uncut gem.
Yuck.
But yeah, so it's really sad when Tom Holland's like, "You'll come home tomorrow, and we're gonna act like the game never happened. We'll watch it together." And yeah, it's pretty
he's
brutal.
living some Brigsby Bear level fantasies at that point.
But he has, to be fair, they're probably teenagers and they don't know what's going on. I mean, they obviously know their mom's up dropping a 50-minute deuce in the bathroom or whatever she's doing, but they don't really know what's going on. I'm sure they could guess, maybe. I don't know how old they are. But, so, I mean, that's pretty much everything we have. She, like, I think Josh said, he's kicked out of the house. She said, we'll work out something with the kids, but I don't want you to be here. This is not your home anymore. And that one's kind of up in the air, but that's also
So does he go to does he go to the hospital or does he go to some greasy pub? Where's he going?
The hospital.
How do you know?
Because he said that the whole time, I'll be there.
He's made up his mind.
Traffic's fine.
He's going crazy though, man. I don't know.
Traffic's fine.
He's talking to his dead dad in the back, talking about digging him up, lighthouse style. Like, did he kill his dad, actually? I thought I had a hint of that.
No, but I love that when he's like, I'll dig you up. Yeah,
he's just talking to the Venom symbiote.
Yep.
Say you like me, lobster.
I was kind of hoping he had one more thing on his checklist to do, and it was his dad's dead body in the back of the trunk. And he had to go
drop it off a pier. Yeah.
Not only is the game on, but I got to get rid of this body too. Oh my gosh.
I wish the back seat would have talked to him. He's like, why'd you spill your guts?
Why'd you spill your guts?
Beans. Your beans. I'm sorry, your beans.
Spilled your beans.
Why'd you spill your beans? All right, that's Lighthouse. Check out episodes.
So I have a pitch for Locke 2.
Yes.
All right, you guys ready?
Oh,
If there's no NAS in this, I'm going to lose it.
He can't do concrete anymore. He's lost all credibility in the concrete pouring world. He becomes a pilot, right? So he's a pilot and he's flying around in a plane and he gets like a phone call from an Indian like scammer saying like he owes money to the IRS. And he just spends the next 90 minutes trying to like talk his way out of having to go buy gift cards from Walmart or whatever they have you do.
What's the title?
Locke 2.
Locked into a
the
contract?
Revenge? I don't know. Revolutions?
Mikey.
Locked out of my bank accounts.
Mikey, would this have been your favorite movie ever if he's talking to Bethan and she said, I need you here in 5 minutes, and he just starts pumping the NAS and he gets there on time. Just speeds. A 9-second.
I feel like this movie could have used maybe not a drag racing scene or anything, but maybe like he gets in an possibly pulled over by the cops or something, and then he like flips out on them and beats the hell out of them or something.
Locke's the kind of guy that drives 5 miles an hour under the speed limit.
My name is Spain.
But he's crazy tonight. This is his night to let loose.
I like the NAS idea. I think Johnny Tran pulls up next to him and is like, too soon, Junior, and then he hits the NAS like harder.
I wish that when he was talking to his dad, he went into like a Smeagol versus Gollum voice.
Yeah.
Just like talking to his dad.
be wrong.
Oh, but he does the Bane voice. Yes.
Yeah. Do you want me to do the Bane voice I did that one time? What episode was that? It was really good. It was the best. All right. I think we're about wrapped up there. Let's do some final thoughts, then we'll get the yes or no's, and then we'll get to trivia. I think the thing is, like, 50 minutes of this was all final thoughts, you know? Like, we weren't really going through the story. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, we're just kind of riffing the whole time, so I guess if nobody has anything,
I have a couple things. All right, so look.
Go ahead.
He doesn't look at the road enough. Like
I saw your...
Dude, that was bugging the shit out of me, man. He was like putting his face like in his hands while driving. Like, what is going on there, man? You got to watch the road. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
I get the little things like that bother you. Like, I was watching Harriet and like they're trying to get out of there but they're going to sit there and talk for 3 minutes. I'm like, go, talk
out.
later. Like, that stuff shouldn't bother me, but it bugs the crap out
That's
of
how big
me.
of a dweeb Korey is. He looks at the road when he's driving.
Loser.
Do you even text and drive, bro?
Dude.
But Korey, I will say one of my favorite parts of the movie was when the tension kind of rises because he's like looking at the files and reading stuff off over the phone.
Yeah.
I thought that's kind of cool how they're like, yeah, he's risking his life now, could die at any moment.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. That's cool. The Dark Knight was rising.
What kind of podcast do you think he was listening to on his drive? Think he had any Joe Rogan pulled up? Just to,
Ben Shapiro, probably.
just to pass the time in between the
He's
phone
got
calls?
spoilers on between phone calls.
Can someone put that in there? Like, when it shows his, like, for Instagram, it shows his call thing and put, like, our spoilers logo, like he's listening to it.
Just smashing that like button.
All right, Korey, did you have something else? You said you had a couple things.
I don't remember the other thing. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Pappy, got anything? Man, it's so weird to go like a long time without hearing anybody.
No, that's everything.
Because I
had.
never shut up.
Full boat, man. Choo choo.
All right, let's go
Wait.
with the way we. What?
Can we talk about Caldwell the goat? 2 goals in 3
donkey.
minutes.
The donkey.
What was it?
Jordan, what team is that supposed to be?
I
Or is
couldn't
that
figure it
fake?
out. I don't know.
I think he's outside of Birmingham. I think they said so. Maybe Birmingham, whatever they are.
Maybe.
Barons. I don't know.
I think they're part of the West Ham Green Street Hooligans.
GSC. Green Street Elite. The Mighty Yamas.
God,
Okay,
all right.
now I can never choose that movie.
I'm gonna choose it at some point. It's gonna be so fun.
They hate journalists. Brett loves it.
Journos.
Journos. We hate journos and yanks. He always preferred to scrap to yo yama. All right, Josh, let's go. Hit him up. Take us on home. The yes or no's.
Isn't it Jordan first? I'll go first. It's fine.
Oh, it is Jordan. It is Jordan. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Someone go. Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a really strong movie. One of my biggest pet peeves in movies is when exposition is dropped forcefully between two characters that within this world they're trying to build should know each other to not have to say some of these things out loud. And I think miraculously this movie completely avoids that. I didn't think that one time throughout this movie. Just really good exposition pacing, I think. The bottle within a bottle episode, like you're just in his car, it's a little gimmicky, I guess. So it's a little bit of a tick off. It's not like a perfect movie, but it's a really interesting kind of experiment, and I enjoyed watching it. So it's a yes for me.
Cool. Jode?
Yeah. So this is one that I had tried to watch. I think it's been on Netflix. I don't know if it's been consistently, but it's been on there at least for a couple of years. And I've tried to watch it before and never got through like more than 10 minutes or so because I was kind of bored and not into it enough. So I'm glad you picked it, Brett. I was glad I watched it. I think the big things that I took away from it are that A24 is fucking cool. And I know we review a lot of their movies and you guys talk about it a lot, but the more I see of their stuff, like it's a good thing that they're around. And then also I think Tom Hardy is really good in this. With that being said, it's an interesting format, I would say. I wouldn't
Yes,
no. I wouldn't want to watch
coming.
I wouldn't want to watch a lot of movies like this, but it's cool. I think it's a soft yes, and yeah, that's it.
I think everyone thought that with that transition, you're like, that being said, it's a no, dude. Let's go
Jordan.
with, I screwed up the order a little bit, but let's go with Stevie.
Oh, man. I'm going to go with a soft no. I think at certain points it gets to be a little too minimalist and too gimmicky. I think for the story they were trying to tell, they actually could have used like other characters in the movie instead of just a straight bottle episode. So, especially with the fact that like you can obviously tell he hated his father, and I think one of his biggest fears in life was becoming his father. And also, like, a big moment for people that have strained relationships with their dads is, like, the day they find out their dad is no longer Superman. And I think it would have been really interesting to actually involve his sons in this movie to make it come actually full circle. So for that reason, I will give this a soft no. But I still enjoyed watching it.
Okay, you're dead to me. Mikey?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty great ad for BMW's hands-free phone services.
On-screen navigation, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's compelling enough for what it is, which is just a 90-minute long bottle episode of a guy working through some stuff. It's really just a bunch of admin stuff. So he's checking off stuff on his to-do list and running errands, basically, in his car, but I don't know. I mean, you're entertained throughout, which is surprising considering nothing is really happening besides his life falling apart. But in the end, we end up not even really even seeing the outcome of any of that stuff. So I think the payoff is almost like not worth it. So I'm gonna have to go like the softest of yeses, because I think, like Pap said way in the beginning of this podcast, Tom Hardy just carries the whole movie with his performance. And I'm actually more interested in like all of the engineering, concrete pouring stuff than I am in any of his family drama. So it's like I kind of almost wish they leaned into that the whole way than mixing it up with this affair and this whole other B and C side plots. So I'll say soft yes.
All right, Pap?
Yeah, I like a lot of the stuff that you guys have said already. Like when Josh said it's an interesting experiment, I think that's a good way to describe this. I have some problems with the execution. Like I honestly think that they were trying to go with something like a High Noon, Rope, even more recently something like a 1917 where it's like real time soft, and they weren't able to pull it off. There were a couple of weird edits in there too. I don't know if you guys caught those, but some of the phone conversations seemed a little spliced together between the different takes. And like something that we talked about on Troll Hunter and again First Blood is, I'm sure between Birmingham and London there's something interesting to look at on the road, and it never bothers to do that or to show it, even though there are some cool like cinematography shots of like, you know, the reflection of the road on Locke's face, but it has no interest in anything other than what's in the car. I wrote in my Letterboxd review that there's like at least one Oscar nominated short like this kind of every year, and it feels like in that vein. And I didn't know what I was going to give this until I heard Jordan 3 minutes ago said A24 is pretty cool. I'm glad they exist, and that kind of is the tipping point for me. This is a yes for me. I couldn't in good faith recommend it to a lot of my friends or Tanya or my family, but I do think that like on its own, I enjoy seeing something so different and, like Josh said, experimental. So very, very soft yes for me, but I'm glad that you picked it, Brett. I don't want you to be defensive about your movie.
No, I'm not defensive.
I don't know.
Korey,
I'm not defensive.
You said Stevie was dead to you after he gave you a no.
Stevie's the guy who freaking recommended this movie to me. That's why he's dead to me.
Korey
Korey.
was going to say that after Stevie's comment, regardless of what he chose.
This is tricky. A lot has been said that I would otherwise say, I think, so I'll get down to it. I'm going to give it a yes. I do like this movie. It's quite good. It's interesting. This guy is... Tom Hardy, the actor, he's great. I mean, a lot, like you guys said, a lot of it hinges on him, and I think the performance is really good. There's some other performances in there as well, but you really, you're face to face with this guy. It's the best movie I've ever seen of a guy in a car on the phone. Best one, gotta be
a deep genre.
Gotta be the best one of those, I'd say. Something that just kind of came to me a minute ago was that this could be an episode of Black Mirror, but it would just end with like, it would be an app, like they would be inside of an app, like it wouldn't be real or something.
It's The Sims.
Anyway, I was just thinking about that for some reason, but yes, it's a yes.
I'll say this to go into my yes or no, and I'm not defensive about this. I picked this movie because I figured it would be like a challenge for us, and I agree with like pretty much everything you're saying. It's a very difficult movie to talk about. I wouldn't recommend this movie to my brother. I wouldn't recommend it to my parents, but I would recommend it to you guys because you like film and unique things. I mean, I just feel like if we did Fast and Furious movies like that all the time, like The Rock, and we would just get bored. I wanted to throw this really weird curveball. It's kind of one of the reasons I threw American Movie in there a few months ago.
Great movie.
It's just a weird thing. So I'll take that into I'm not offended by it, but Stevie, I just mess around, Dick.
American Movie, one of my favorite movies. I really wish we could have done that after I joined.
Yeah.
But hey.
But this is a solid yes for me. I enjoyed this the second time around. I felt just as tense. Like the first time I watched it, it like really, really blew me away. I was just like sweaty palms and
knees weak, arms heavy,
mom's spaghetti.
Yeah. So I love Tom Hardy. He's in my top 5 favorite actors now. I mean, I think he's amazing. I've never seen him other than the one brother, the crazy gay one in Legend. I hated him, but other than that, everything he's ever done I think is amazing. So maybe that's why I liked it a little more than you guys did, maybe, but I really enjoyed it. I thought the colors and the cinematography were really cool, and I thought it was a risk, and I thought it paid off personally. So, so I guess that's 6 yeses and 1 no. So that's 5 sausages. It's 5 beers and sausages, but not the full 6er. So that's unfortunate, but that's okay. So I guess should we get right into trivia?
Yeah.
All right, this is going to be weird. I hope it works out. It probably won't. Okay, so to remind everyone, the order is from longest, hasn't hosted till newest, is Mikey, Jordan, Korey, Stevie, Josh, and Pap. Okay, I have a list of the top 25 cars sold in 2019. And I am going to have you guys guess some of these ones. Okay, there's a few layers to this, but hopefully it'll work out. If not, it could be a disaster.
God.
It's 2 ways to win. It's the first one to get 5 right, and maybe we'll go lesser if it gets crazy. Or if you guess the total number of cars sold last year on this list of 25. So everyone has a chance. Like if you are bad at cars, if you're good at guessing, you can do that.
We're talking like a specific model here?
Yes, make and model.
Oh, Bubba.
Oof.
Yeah, so I don't. You might want to take like notes, write some stuff down, like numbers, but you don't have to. The advantages are going to be for the guesses. You can only guess the number if you get one right, and you guess it afterwards. After I tell you how many were sold of that specific thing, Mikey and Jordan have to get within 100,000 of the total number. Korey, Stevie, Josh, and Pap have to get within 50,000. So if that tells you how many there are, that I'm giving you that big of a buffer, 1,000, 100,000 either way. So let's just get going, and then we'll figure it out. So Mikey, do you want to go first or last?
Yes, I'll go first.
All right, go ahead.
So a make and model of the car.
Yep. Top 25 most popular cars sold in the United States last year.
Or the total of the 25, right?
Well, yeah, but you guess first, and if you get one right, you get a guess.
All right.
And that's like, if Mikey's got 4 and Pappy like throws a full court shot up with a number, he can win that way, just so no one's ever really out of it.
I'll say a Honda CR-V.
Honda CR-V was the 5th most popular car last year, and they were 384,168 of those sold last year.
Can you say that number again?
384,168.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mikey, you get a guess for the total number.
25 million.
That's incorrect. Do you guys want me to do like higher or lower, or so it's easier, or what?
Just wait.
Okay. So Jordan.
Honda Civic.
That's what
Honda
I was gonna
Civic is number 9 with 325,650. 325,650.
And I'm supposed to guess the total number of all 25 on this list?
Yeah, the reason I'm telling you how many each is you can maybe try to do some math.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be like a big guess, but
12 million?
incorrect. Korey?
See, I should be good at this. I work kind of in the automotive industry.
Did Jordan say Honda? Wait, what did Jordan say? Car?
Civic.
Honda Civic.
Toyota Camry.
Toyota Camry, number 8, with 336,978. That is 336,978.
And I'm supposed to guess the total for all the top 10 added together?
Top 25. You don't have to. It's just a way to win.
Yeah. 15 million.
Incorrect. Stevie? That is not on the list.
I'll go with my car. The Toyota RAV4.
That is the number 4 most sold car with 448,071. 448,071.
I'll go with 6.45 million.
Incorrect. Josh?
I'll go with the Honda Accord.
That's number 11. 267,568. 267,567.
5 million total units.
How many credits though? Incorrect.
20,000 denarii credits.
Toyota Prius.
Incorrect.
Did you say, Pat?
Oh,
I
Prius?
just feel like maybe that's too expensive.
Yeah.
Mikey?
Boy.
Wow, that was gonna be my next guess.
I'm feeling nice, by the way. I'm gonna let Korey get within 100,000 as well.
How close do you have to be to the final number to get it right?
I feel bad that it's different for different people.
No, you guys gotta get an advantage. I always get crapped off for not giving a big enough advantage.
Brett's a numberist.
We went first. How close do you have to be to the final number to get it right, Brett?
For
50,000.
For bottom 3, 50,000. And the
I'll say
top 300,000.
Toyota Corolla. The Adam Corolla.
Number 10. 304,850. 304,850. We'll tell you, one of you guys was pretty close.
Oh, yeah, I got a number now.
Yeah.
I'll say 5 million.
Incorrect.
I already said that.
That's that. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Wait, how close do you have to get to that number, Brett, to win?
I've said it 3 times.
You said it so many times, Josh.
No, you.
After this round, I'll start doing higher or lower. But the bottom 3 have to get within 50,000 each way.
Oh, okay.
And the top 3, 100,000.
Okay.
Jordan.
Shit. Ford Focus? Sounds like
I thought that was on there. No, that is incorrect.
Fuck.
Korey?
Ford F-150.
The Ford F-Series has been number 1 for like 20 years in a row. So yes,
Whoa,
number one.
F-Series? Wow.
I know, right? They cheat that way. 896,526.
Fucking insider Korey over here.
Isn't this the last year they're making the 150s?
Oh, really? That seems like a mistake if they're making that much money.
Well, they're not.
896,526. Well, they're actually down, but they're still ahead by a significant amount, but they're definitely dropped.
I mean, the auto debt's going to come crashing down like the housing market of 2008. It's only a matter of time.
Yeesh.
Korey, what's your guess there?
Bail out Ford or something.
Mm-hmm.
6 million.
Incorrect. Stevie.
Ford Escape.
Number 14.
Woo-hoo!
241388.
That was number 14.
Yep.
2.97 million.
Incorrect. Josh.
I want to see if a van snuck onto this list. I'll go with my parents' old model, the Honda Odyssey.
Ooh.
Incorrect. I love the outside the box guess though.
That was a good van.
I don't know many more making models.
Yeah,
Be honest.
I don't know any cars. Chevrolet Impala.
Ooh,
do they still make those?
Nice.
It's not a bad guess.
They do, but it's not on there.
God damn it! I remember watching a TV show like that's the most common car in California
And Florida. All the old folks drive it.
They say that in Drive.
That's what it is. Yep.
Mikey.
Say VW Jetta.
No.
That's
Jordan.
Mikey's last 3 cars.
Yeah, I should have brought that number up.
Jordan.
Jeep Wrangler.
Number 17.
What is happening?
228032. Korey. Oh, sorry. Gordon. Guess.
Gordon.
Gordon Bombay.
Gordon Bombay.
Brother Gordon.
Fucking 9,400,000.
Okay, I'm gonna start doing higher or lower. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
It is lower.
Oh.
Korey.
Chevy Silverado.
Number 3.
Silverado?
575600. 575,600. You've gotten 3, right? Or did I just give you a point?
He's our insider, man.
He knows so much.
So I said 6 million less. 7 million.
Incorrect. It is higher.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Stevie.
Ford Fusion.
Number 25.
Get the fuck
Let's
outta
go.
here.
166045. God, I'm losing track of the points big time.
12.37 million.
Remember when
No, it's lower than
it's incorrect. It's lower.
Who's next?
Josh.
Okay, I've had to rent a car 2 times this last year, and they're both, I think, Nissan Altimas?
Number 18.
Let's go!
209183.
Okay, 8.5 million.
Incorrect. Lower. Pat, come on, Pat.
I had to. Every time I've ridden a car, I've gotten 3 Chevy Cruzes in a row.
Is that your guess?
Yeah, Chevrolet Cruze.
Is that like a mix
Incorrect.
between a car and a truck?
I didn't know. I don't know anything about
Is
cars.
it? No, I'm
Mikey.
asking.
It's just a car. I don't know.
Okay.
What do you mean? You rented it the last 3 times. What's it like?
It's just a car. It's just a regular car.
Mikey.
Why? You're still busy lifting drinks.
Car.
4 doors.
4 doors.
Hyundai Sonata? Is that what it's called?
Ooh.
It's a good one.
Incorrect. Jordan.
Does he doesn't get to guess the number?
He didn't get it right.
Okay. And this is just for 2019, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to do the Nissan Maxima.
Incorrect.
Hey.
Korey. I was hoping I had some car people on here.
Is this list new cars or like used sold as well?
Checking his spreadsheets.
That's a good question. I have no idea. Probably.
Look, I work for a software company that does software for used car dealerships specifically, so...
Trust your gut.
Doxed.
Just trying to think of what I see a lot. A GMC Sierra.
That's a good one.
Number 16. Nice.
Wow.
232323.
Here it comes.
I believe that is Corey's 4th point.
Walk off.
So you get a guess, but if you win the next one,
just guess it right.
So I get to guess the number, right? So it's...
Yep.
We're rooting for you.
7.5 million.
Incorrect.
God damn it, Korey.
Come
Higher,
on.
Is that 7
Korey.
point what? What do you say?
Higher?
He said 7.5. I said higher. Stevie.
Is it just American cars or can I go imports?
You can go imports, but it's what was sold in America. Well, obviously,
Right.
he said Honda and Toyota.
Muscle
Yeah.
beats import any day.
Let's go with my old roommate's car. I'm not sure if this is true, but I think they're very popular in the lesbian community. Let's go with the Subaru Outback.
Oh, there's
Christ.
so many Subarus out
Nice
here.
one. Yeah.
Subaru Outback, number 21.
Let's go.
181178. I believe that is Stevie's 4th point.
7.675.
Incorrect.
Higher or lower?
Higher or lower?
Higher.
What number on the list was that, Brett?
What did you guess?
The Outback?
21. Josh, you're up.
I don't know any more making models, I don't think.
There's so many ones here that are like super popular.
Right.
Now you know them. Just guess them.
The more you know.
Is it? Someone said a Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
So what about a Jeep Strangler?
Get the fuck out of here.
Discuss Band of Brothers, Josh.
Was that your guess?
How about maybe just Jeep is its own thing? Just Jeep,
Oh
no
my
Wrangler.
No!
Jeep.
No, it's
This
not
is
like...
incredible.
Oh.
Dude, no, that's no.
Can I just guess Ford, Brett?
Pappy's up. Give Pappy a shot.
My mom drives a Toyota 4Runner.
Rich person's car. No, it's not on here.
Scrape my driveway.
Mikey.
Your driveway's a menace to society, Stevie.
It really is.
Yeah, Josh brought up a good point. A minivan is probably on there. I just can't. Is it maybe called like a Chrysler Town and Country? Is that the minivan? I don't know.
I believe that is a minivan that is not on here.
Oh.
Jordan.
Fuck me. I'm gonna go with my old whip, the old Chrysler Sebring.
Is that even a thing anymore?
They don't make that anymore. That's
Well, we didn't know if it was used, new.
it's not on the list.
Who knows?
Sorry.
How many did they sell this year?
It's sold out, is what you're telling me.
Korey.
So, there's a type of truck, and I get questioned about this all the time at work. People say it's a Dodge Ram, and I say no. Ram trucks that's the make and the model, because a few years ago Ram separated.
A Ram?
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
subsidiary.
Ram?
Ram.
Number 2,
That
Ram
doesn't make
pickup.
any fucking sense.
See?
What?
Yep.
Wait, so the model is
Ram-
I
pickup?
didn't know they did that.
Wait, Ram
So-
was no longer Dodge?
So Ram was a model, and then Ram separated, and now Ram just makes trucks that aren't Dodges. They're just Ram.
Well, it's still a subsidiary of Dodge, I believe, right?
I think they're separate.
I didn't hear a single model that he named right there.
All right.
That's
I
the
was-
game, though.
Truck.
It is the game. I was going to
Fuck
let
this
everyone do
game.
one more guess, but that's it.
What?
Unbelievable.
One more. I guess.
That's the game.
There's got to be more
What
on
was the
there.
number? God damn it.
Stevie.
Now I'm starting to think of the Dodge cars.
Stevie.
My piece of paper is just like a mess of car make and models.
You're not going to like this, Stevie.
What's up?
If you had gotten the 100,000 instead of 50,000, you would have won.
So I don't get any more guesses?
Nope. You had a lot of guesses. The number was 7,749,987.
So we got all 25 cars?
No, I said to play to 5 or you get the number.
I was going to say, I didn't miss. Damn.
I didn't get one right.
So Korey is your winner. I'm sorry about that, fans. I hope that you at least enjoyed that more than
I
Josh
was
did.
going to say the Jeep
Josh.
Cherokee.
Yeah, Josh, when you said Jeep Strangler, I was like, Jeep Cherokee. Plus, there's also a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Okay, the ones you did not get.
Jeep
Nissan Rogue,
Strangler, first
The
of all.
Rogue.
Nissan Rogue Sport,
Nissan Rogue One.
Yeah.
Chevy Equinox, Toyota Tacoma, Jeep Grand Cherokee, Toyota Highlander, Jeep Cherokee, Nissan Sentra, Hyundai Elantra, Subaru Forester, and Ford Explorer.
Shite.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get any of those.
Hey, Brett.
All right. Yeah, sorry.
Guess
What?
who's a car aficionado and has millions invested in dozens of cars?
Vin Diesel.
Nope,
Spoiler
Eric
man.
Clapton.
Oh,
Once
nice.
again proving he's a hedonistic fuck.
All right, so Korey is our
So
winner
smooth.
tonight, and we are going to kick it to Spoiler Man while Korey figures out how he wants to say Fast and the Furious 5.
Let's go.
Spoiler Man here. Our email is podcastspoilers@gmail.com. Twitter is @spoilers_pod. Our Instagram is podcast spoilers. It's lit. Josh Hensley from the Rutabaga wrote our theme song.
I guess it's just Fast 5, isn't it? All right, Korey, you ready?
I am ready. We're going to do Fast 5.
Yes. Hold on. And we're back. Korey?
What?
Just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we're still going to do Fast 5.
All right, everybody, you heard it. We are Fast and Furious spoilers now. I mean, you know, we just did a good car movie. Now we're going to do a lesser one, but it's okay.
See ya.
Thanks for sticking with us for 1 hour and 29 minutes. You guys must really like us. That was spoilers, and have a good night.
Wow, this pod was in real time.
I sent a pic in the thread, Judd, if you want to see my dog.
Pace yourself, Korey.
Look at the little girl. Look at her face.
A good picture.
She is amazing.
That's a good burp.
Whose beard is that in the top left?
Oh. It was bigger than I had a mishap shaving, so I nearly shaved the entire thing.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Very cute dog. Looks
Yes.
expensive.
She was. She was.
Is she heavy?
And
she's expensive. Put it in the back. From
her
Jurassic.
brother was born at 9 pounds.
And she was 4-pound puppers.
Oh, little runt.
Yeah.
How big is she now? How long have you had her?
I've had her since Saturday, so she's like 4.5, 5 pounds.
What's her Insta handle?
Haven't decided yet. All I know is her name is Minnie, and she's a very clingy dog.
So I'll give you some social media tips here. If you're gonna make an Instagram for this dog, make it related to a fandom. People love that shit. So like Minnie's like Harry Potter adventures or something, or like something.
That'd be awesome.
No. Mad Max puppers.
Oh, there you go. Mad Max Minnie.
That's cheating.
People love that. I'm telling
Using
you. Using
Kylo Ren's hints is cheating.
There's still time, Brett.
Send
You can do
photos
a
to the
well.
group chat, but it'll start an Insta handle for the dog.